world, there is absolutely no world where Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon should lose their jobs for now. And the Phoenix Suns should take tonight's game very seriously. This is why. Let's talk about it next.
The Ben Garcia Show. Yeah. Woo. Best show in the land. Yup. Listen. Come and get your information from Ben Garcia. Get the latest on your quarterback, running backs, and receivers. Tune in, so any other show you don't need them. Any news that he giving out, please just believe him. Giving out the latest prediction and top-notch analysis. Wanna hear the truth, better have thick skin like calluses. The latest move that your team just made can be damaging. The dudes ain't speaking no facts, they just be rambling. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. Yeah. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. The Ben Garcia Show.
What is up, guys? Welcome in to yet another edition of the Ben Garcia Show. Wherever you may be listening, however you may be listening, thank you for making the Ben Garcia Show a part of your day on this beautiful Wednesday morning, a Phoenix Suns opening night Wednesday morning eve, if you will, like meaning they're going to play later tonight. So eve meaning the morning right before that. You get it. But there's also a lot of Cardinals things to get into. And with the football season still very relevant, we'll dive into that. But first, follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show, as well as don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the stream. It helps me out tremendously. And that's the only way I'm able to keep this show going. So with that being said, let's start right here, guys. There is a lot of conversation, as there should be, about holding the Arizona Cardinals accountable for what has been the season from hell. Like, every team in Arizona has had the season from hell over the past year. So maybe this is just something that the sports gods are making it run its course. But the Suns had this. It was a season from hell. The Diamondbacks had this towards the early to middle part of the season. Then they kind of started to figure it out. ASU has avoided this for now, and now the Arizona Cardinals are in the thick of it. And everyone's pointing blame. And a lot of the blame, as it should be, is being pointed at the quarterback position. Maybe it's Kyler, maybe it's Jacoby Brissett. If you don't see the differences in the offense, I don't believe you. If you think, the offense looks exactly the same, and they just weren't giving Kyler Murray enough shots, they've given him enough chances. It's year 7. So if you can't spot the differences in the offense, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And that's okay. We can just agree to disagree. But a lot of people are putting the blame on the quarterback position. And I myself am in that same realm. I think this roster is ready-made to win. I will not go man overboard and tell you that I was wrong. This roster isn't even good. It's not talented. It's got a lot of holes in it. I believe you're just wrong. I believe that there's some copium going on, understandably so. Fans were sold a bag of goods, and it turned out to be a quick kick in the freaking nards. But this team is very talented. And I will not act like the Cardinals are not very talented. And so there's a lot of blame going around. But I will continue to say this. Here is the really good part for the Cardinals season. Here is the number one thing that should make you feel good about the Cardinals moving forward. They are a top 15 quarterback away from being 4-2, from being 5-1, dare I say 6-0. That's how good this roster is. I will not let the fan base and media try to trick me into saying that this team isn't good. They've got a lot of holes due to injuries, but those players will come back eventually. Garrett Williams is missing. Trey Benson is missing. Those are key offensive and defensive weapons. And if this team had a top 15 quarterback on it, no doubt in my mind, would they be 4-2, 5-1, 6-0? Right now, they don't. That's why I believe when I say you should go out and either pay a quarterback like Daniel Jones potentially, Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield type resurrections, or draft a guy. Well, drafting a guy is hard. He can't come save your organization. That's not what I'm saying. The Cardinals are not an organization that is in dire need of saving. This is a very talented roster. It's ready-made. It's, hey, kid, don't crash the Maserati. That's what it is right now. Hand Sam Levitt, whatever, Lenore Sellers, Ty Simpson, whoever it is, hand him the keys and say, don't crash the Maserati. Keep it on the roads, stay the speed limit, let the car do the rest. Let MHJ, Trey McBride, Will Johnson, Budda Baker, Walter Nolan when he comes back. Let them do the rest. You just don't crash it. So that's the positive light from the Arizona Cardinals season so far. It's not all doom and gloom. They are very close to being not just a playoff contender, but a deep playoff threat. They just got to find a guy at the quarterback position. And maybe that's Jacoby Brissett last year. Like, I genuinely believe Jacoby Brissett, now that what we've seen from what we've seen, started the first 6 games of the season, they're probably 4-2. At worst, 3-3. And fighting and clawing and scratching their way to the playoffs. Because this roster is talented. They just got to find a guy. But there's been other finger pointing. There's been other finger pointing at Monti Ossenfort, at Jonathan Gannon, and I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair. And it goes back to my reasoning before. Yes, I think Monti Ossenfort should have some blame. Marvin Harrison Jr. does not look like the 4th overall pick through, 20 games into his NFL career. Walter Nolan, it's an injury. I'm not going to blame him. Darius Robinson looks like a flat-out bust. Elijah Jones can't get on the field. Tip Ryman was overdrafted. But Mac Wilson has been a pretty solid deal. We don't know about Walter Nolan. Will Johnson has been great. Garrett Williams has been great. They have found some pieces. Michael Wilson. They have found some pieces, and you're not going to bat 1,000 in the NFL draft. And Monty did sit on his hands when I didn't think the offensive line would be this bad, but when I thought the offensive line at minimum needed depth and help at the right tackle position for sure, Monti Ossenfort sat in his hands. So there's blame to go around, 100%. And I think this is where I would say with that. I think there's blame to go around, but I think most of the blame should be pointed at the quarterback position. It just should be. Because I look at this roster and I say it's ready-made. And so I understand Cardinals fans and media and people who cover the team are going scorched earth and fire and brimstone and get rid of Jonathan Gannon and get rid of Monti Ossenfort. That isn't fair. Most of the blame should go on the quarterback position. If they had a top 15, top 12, in that range quarterback, they'd be 4-2. This roster is really freaking good. And yes, does Jonathan Gannon share some blame? The 4th and 1, allowing that to happen was atrocious. 4th down a couple of weeks ago against the Titans was atrocious. Almost losing the locker room with the way the Amari DiMercato thing was handled, whether you agree with it or not, was bad. Standing behind Drew Petzing, for better or for worse, was an interesting place to plant your flag. And Monti Ossenfort has some misses in the drafts, but he also hits on Will Johnson and Garrett Williams and Michael Wilson, and he found Mac Wilson. So those guys deserve some blame, as everyone should take some slice of the pie in this Cardinals season. But I think it's very clear, outside of just an absolute meltdown from this team this year, Monti Ossenfort has done enough to keep his job. And I want to see what happens when he selects a quarterback. Because if Monti selects the right guy at the quarterback position, either through free agency or the draft, all of it will be forgiven. One of the things that was Steve Keim's saving grace for so long is we all thought Kyler Murray was the guy. You get the quarterback right, nothing else matters. And so with Jonathan Gannon, as well, like there is some issues with him. But because this roster is ready-made, and because he hasn't lost the locker room, and they're still fighting, I want to see them with a quarterback. And so I know people are going scorched earth on the Arizona Cardinals right now, and they should be. Everyone shares a piece of the blame pie. But I won't go as far to say Jonathan Gannon and Monti Ossenfort should be fired. They wear blame. But this roster is really good. You will not convince me that a roster filled up with Trey McBride and Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Zay Jones and Trey Benson when he's healthy and Will Johnson and Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson and Rabbit Taylor Demerson is a bad roster. The foundation is there. They've got dudes on this team. And Monty's missed on guys. Sure, he ain't going to bat 1,000. You remember what it was like with Steve Keim? You were batting the Mendoza line. And Jonathan Gannon, the team still fights really hard. As well as, I know they have fourth quarter lapses on defense. Outside of that, they're a borderline elite defense quarters 1 through 3. And that is a very prime example of the coach can at least get his side of the ball right. He can coach. Can he be a leader of men? I believe he can be. I think you need to see this team with the quarterback that they draft. Let me see what Monti Ossenfort has cooking. Let me see if Monti Ossenfort can find his guy. If he finds that, all will be forgiven. If Jonathan Gannon has a marriage in place, that those two guys, or that has a marriage in place with a quarterback and it works out, all will be forgiven. My guy, Aaron Van Buren in the chat, who before I read, I love. Good dude. JG should be not Monti Ossenfort. We should trade for a coach. I mean, yeah. If I could trade for Sean Payton or Andy Reid or even Shane Steichen, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, like 100%. But that's kind of fantasy land. Coaches get traded what? Once a decade? Once every 5 years if you're bringing all sports into it? Like I think Doc Rivers was the last coach traded in the NBA. Like it doesn't happen. Firing Jonathan Gannon, I think, would be a mistake right now. He is a leader of men. The defensive side of the ball, yes, has lapses in the fourth quarter. But it's overall a really good defense. So it's not all on JG. It's just not. He has shown signs of being a very competent coach. And here's what happens. You don't want to get in the doom cycle of rinsing and repeating after 3 seasons and firing a head coach. That makes you look dysfunctional. It's why you shouldn't fire head coaches in the middle of the season unless you absolutely have to, Brian Callahan style. Because other head coaching candidates don't like that. They don't like in the middle of the year they got to pull their kids out of school and find a new place to live and restart life anew. They don't like that, just like how you don't. So it might not be fair, but it's not plausible. It's just simply not plausible. And so they should hold on to those guys. They should. I want to see what this team would look like with more continuity, plus or minus Drew Petzing, and a new quarterback. And if that's the case, like if that's what we get, I think you're talking about a team that really does figure it out. So I've just seen the scorched earth stuff. That here's another quick side tangent. I hate when people say, like, the season's over. Like, pretty much, like, this is not picking on one person. I have not said the season is over once. I said they're not making the playoffs, but that doesn't mean the season's over. And, like, this is what drives me insane about literally every other content creator. Maybe outside of Locked On Cardinals, because I haven't heard my guy Alex Clancy say this. But everyone else, and I like a lot of these people, have said the season is over. No, it is not. We've still got a lot of things to learn. Can Marvin Harrison Jr. play? Is Darius Robinson truly a bust? Does Walter Nolan come in and make a splash right away? Does the defensive line and the defense as a whole stay really good? We've got things to learn. My opinion can change on this team come week 13. But the best thing that can happen, and I know it doesn't feel that way, the best thing that can happen is the Cardinals lose a bunch of more games, really close, and they show you, we're this close. We just need the quarterback. And they get a top 5 pick and they get their guy. That's the best thing that can happen. I know winning games is fun in the short term, but you got to find a quarterback. And let's say Kyler Murray, like, here's what's going to happen. Like, mark this down. It is, October 22nd, 7 what? How far are we into the show? 7:17 a.m. Kyler Murray is going to go scorched earth against the Dallas Cowboys. 4 touchdowns, 300-something yards, because everyone does against the worst defense in the league. And everyone's going to tell me that I was wrong about the quarterback thing, about how you shouldn't have given up on Kyler yet. And it'll buy another week of controversy. But ultimately, at the end of the day, like, there's no shot this team comes out and does win, 8 of their last 10 games and makes the playoffs. They play a lot of really good teams. You're asking for Kyler Murray to play consistent football against really good teams. And I just don't think that's going to happen. I hope it does. Like, it's so funny. I've had a couple of people tell me that, like, I just hate Kyler. It's just funny. Like, my life gets infinitely more better when Kyler Murray is elite. I make more money. The show does better. People are more tapped in. And the team that I grew up watching is playing well. Why would I be against that? But again, there's agendas. And everyone's got them to a degree. Not this show, though. No agendas here. If Kyler Murray wins 8 of the last 10 games, I'll change my mind. But if they win 8, 9 games, hell no. I want off the ride. And right now, I don't think that's the case, and so I want off the ride. Let's move over to some Phoenix Suns talk, because on this show, it's all about relevancy. For you guys that are new here potentially today, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m., we're talking all Arizona sports, but we're talking relevant things. The Suns lose 10 games in a row. I'm not going to talk about them. But I think there's real expectations and aspirations for this Suns team this year. This year is not about wins and losses. And I know it's tough to turn your brain from championship or bust to building the foundation of the team. There are a lot of predictions out there for the Phoenix Suns this year. And most of them are wrong. Because they all start off with, last season. And you could do that. The first year of the Bradley Beal experience, the first year of the Kevin Durant experience, and looking backwards. But what I will say is, this is a completely different roster. It's completely overhauled. Outside of 4 players, Nick Richards, Grayson Allen, Devin Booker, and, Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro. There are some guys from last year, but the team has changed their entire identity. The Suns last year, their identity, which isn't an identity, was we're just going to be more talented than you. Talent is not an identity. What can you fall back on when bleep hits the fan? The Suns have that this year. It's the defensive side of the ball. Meaning, if they come out here and be an elite level defense, like I believe they can be a top 10 defense this year, that is when things go wrong, the Phoenix Suns can say, all right, let's hammer down defensively. The first game in China against the Brooklyn Nets I thought was really telling. The Suns We're playing a Brooklyn Nets team that was shooting 60% from the field. A team that is shooting 60% from the field and has out-rebounded you in the first half by 10 should win that game 99 out of 100 times. But the Phoenix Suns took the one, and they beat that team because they started off that third quarter going back to their identity, clamoring down defensively, and the Nets didn't score a bucket for the first 5.5 quarters. And the Suns won that game. Because identity matters in the NBA. It really matters in the NFL. It also matters in the NBA. What are you? And yes, offensively, points are going to be hard to come by. I think the Suns win tonight, like just for a brief prediction. But I think they win 101-94. Like that's what the Suns games are going to look like. They don't have a lot of offensive firepower on this team. It's a lot of Devin Booker, and cross your fingers that when Jalen Green gets healthy and Dylan Brooks and Grayson Allen right now are hitting threes from the corners. And the games where Devin Booker has his patented 10-game hamstring injury, they're going to lose a lot of those games because they just don't have the bandwidth in the firepower offensive position. But here's why I'm picking this team to be a play-in team this year. And I think they're going to be a play-in team that if everyone's healthy, they win a spot from the play-in tournament and make the playoffs and give a team a first-round run for their money. Not win it, but win a game and make the other games really difficult on them. A 5 or 6 game series where the opposing team was always going to win, but they felt at least some pressure. That's what the Suns are going to do. But this team offensively doesn't have the bandwidth to stand with anyone. But that's not the point. The point of the Suns season is clearly this. When Oklahoma City comes into here on a random November Wednesday, they're going to look at the Suns how the Suns looked at the Detroit Pistons for the first 10 years of my life. Oh, we can take it easy and we're going to steamroll this team. And they might still win, but they're going to win 102-97, and they're going to say to themselves, leaving the locker room, damn, that team can play. This was supposed to be an easy game. Next time we come in here, we're going to have to hunker down again. They were all over us. They were swarming defensively. Because the Suns have a few things defensively that all great defenses need. They need defensive versatility, different looks. Ryan Dunn, Dylan Brooks can guard 1 through 4. And can take opposing teams' best players out of games and for stretches. They've got a player in Kaman Malawach who I believe is a budding elite rim defender and I think is going to be to the likes of Rudy Gobert. I like the way he moves laterally as well. And so I genuinely do believe the Suns have a clear identity. And the Suns are going to be a team that no one wants to play in the playoffs and no one wants to play in the regular season because they are going to push opposing teams around. Here's why tonight's game against the Sacramento Kings is so incredibly important. The Suns are going to lose most games against the Nuggets and Rockets and Thunder. Like those are baked in losses that in previous seasons the Suns didn't have. This year, they have some baked in losses. But they have some coin flip games and games that they also have to just win because they'll be favored in. Every time the Suns lose a coin flip game or a game that they should beat in or a game in which a team that they should downright beat like the Wizards or the Hornets, it immediately takes a small knife into the, part of the body that stops this team from making the playoffs. This game is already important. It's already a bit of a must-win. Because the Kings are without some really key players, like Domantas Sabonis is not going to be playing tonight. They've got to win this game. It's important to start off 1-0. Because then you've got, Denver and the Clippers coming up, and you probably lose 2 of those games. But then you got the Jazz. Boom. Let's start off 500 to start the season. Tonight's game matters. And the Suns need to win this game. They're not going to get a lot of games in which they're favored in or they're toss-ups. And they've got to win 70% of those toss-ups. And 90% of those, we're just better than you games. So tonight matters. And I expect Devin Booker to come out and show that it matters. Booker's going to have to drop, 35 points. I think he's going to be one of the leaders in points scored this year because he has to be. His team doesn't have the offensive firepower to run with other teams. And so tonight's important for this team. They've got to come out with their hair on fire, suffocate the Sacramento Kings defensively, and then on the offensive side of the ball, make the shots you need to make to win. And a lot of that comes down to, can Grayson Allen and Dillon Brooks, who are both going to be starting tonight, make opposing teams pay for crashing in on Devin Booker and having open three-point shots? If they do that, then things are going to become easier for Devin Booker, down low, driving to the basket, and in the mid-range. So tonight's important. Tonight's very important for this team. It is, I'll be at the game tonight, by the way. If you're at the game tonight, maybe not. If you're in here, if you're at the game tonight, let me know. Let's come say what's up. Also, guys, the banner, what are we doing here? Michael, that's your job. You're supposed to be telling me when it's the wrong banner. Come on now. Take the last couple minutes to look at some of your guys' comments. Doesn't look like there's too many tonight. Chill Peasy, 98-0. You crazy person. Smack the like button on your way in. Absolutely. 7 years in, no more excuses. Michael, broken record. 100% agree. When will we see Walter Nolan from Zach? We keep getting the same answer from Jonathan Gannon. People get so mad at the media, like, why aren't you asking? He's going to say the same thing. What do you guys want him to do? Like, hold up a pitchfork and knives to Jonathan Gannon and make him give you he doesn't have to do that, so he's not going to. And it's a waste of a question. And you piss off the head coach and stuff. So, I don't know. I think we see Walter Nolan after the bye week, but I don't know. Where the heck is BJ Ojolari? Don't know. JG is fine. He's a leader, 100%. Chill peasy. Booker makes a statement tonight, starting tonight. Quit taking him lightly, 100%. This is his team. He's a top 2 shooting guard in the NBA. Forget top 5. Anyways, all right, guys. I'll see you guys on Friday, 7 a.m. Ben Garcia show's coming to town, 7 a.m. Do me a favor. For everyone in here, hit the like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. And I'll see you guys on Friday. And I'll also be at the Suns game tonight. So follow my coverage of that. Stay safe, guys. Have a good one. And I will talk to you guys on Friday at 7 a.m.